Delve into one book daily, and today we're diving into The Alchemist. Have you ever been there? Stuck in a stable job, a familiar relationship, living a life that's as regular as a wound-up clock, orderly yet empty. There's a vague longing in your heart, maybe an unfulfilled dream from your youth, or a yearning for a different kind of life. But you always hold back in the face of reality, afraid of losing everything after taking a risk, of being adrift after breaking the routine, and most of all, of admitting that you're actually avoiding the question of self-worth. We keep waiting for the right time, only to burn out our passion in the wait. In the end, we comfort ourselves that ordinary is a blessing, yet deep at night, that unfulfilled desire still stings quietly. This allegorical novel by Brazilian author Paulo Coelho has been translated into over 70 languages and sold more than 65 million copies worldwide. It has no complicated plot, but with the journey of a shepherd boy, it strikes a chord with everyone torn between dreams and reality. The protagonist of the story is a young Spanish shepherd named Santiago. He has no prominent family background or huge wealth. Every day, he drives his flock across the Andalusian grasslands, working from sunrise to sunset. He talks to his sheep, camps under the stars, and lingers in unfamiliar towns, leading a simple yet free life. Santiago wasn't born content with shepherding. He used to be a seminary student, a promising child in his parents' eyes. But he grew tired of the rigid knowledge in books and longed to see the world with his own eyes. So he persuaded his parents, picked up his shepherd staff, and embarked on a wandering journey. I'd rather herd sheep and wander the grasslands than be trapped in a church corner, reading about the world written by others. This is what Santiago keeps to himself. His choice is essentially a commitment to self-will. Rather than meeting others' expectations, he wants to be true to his own heart. Yet this freedom hides a subtle unease. The sheep depend on him, and he depends on that dependence, as if his existence only has meaning when he's herding the flock. This delicate bond is much like our modern lives. We rely on the identity given by our jobs, on the sense of security brought by relationships, but forget that these external labels are never the whole of who we are. The turning point comes with a recurring dream. In the dream, a child takes him to the pyramids of Egypt and tells him there's a great treasure hidden there. The first time he has the dream, Santiago dismisses it as a coincidence. But when it repeats, he starts to feel uneasy. Could this be some kind of sign? Filled with doubt, he goes to a gypsy woman to interpret the dream. She tells him this is his personal legend, the thing he most desires to achieve in life. He must go to Egypt to find the treasure, and her reward will be 1/10 of it. Personal legend? It's just a ridiculous dream. Santiago resists the idea in his heart. He's used to the stability of shepherding. Egypt is too far, and the road ahead is full of the unknown. If he encounters danger, he might even lose his sheep. He tries to convince himself that the old woman is just trying to trick him out of money, but the image of the pyramids in his dream keeps popping up. This struggle is exactly how we feel when facing our dreams. We clearly long to set out, yet we're held back by fear, using reality and reason as excuses to refuse taking the first step. That is, until he meets a mysterious old man in the square who claims to be the king of Salem. The old man sees through his confusion at a glance and tells him, "When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." He also tells Santiago that many people know their personal legend when they're young, but as they grow older, they're defeated by reality. They start to fear losing what they have, so they give up chasing it and end up living a life of regret. You don't want to be that person, do you? The old man's words are like a key, unlocking Santiago's heart. I want to see the pyramids, to find out if the treasure in my dream is real. Santiago finally faces his desire head-on. To raise travel money, he reluctantly sells his beloved sheep, his entire fortune, the symbol of his stable life. As he boards the ship to Africa with the money from selling the sheep, his heart is filled with both anticipation and anxiety. He doesn't know what awaits him ahead, but he knows he must go. Shortly after arriving in Tangier, Africa, Santiago suffers a setback. He meets a boy who claims to help him cross the desert, only to have all his money stolen. Penniless, he stands on a strange street, watching the passing strangers. He can't speak the language and has no one to turn to. For the first time, he feels despair. I was so stupid. I should have stayed with my shepherd's life instead of coming here to look for some treasure. He even thinks about giving up, about going back to Spain, buying a new flock of sheep, and returning to his old life. But when he sees the street vendors bustling with business, watching people work hard to make a living, he finds his courage again. I can't go back like this. I haven't found my personal legend yet, he tells himself. To survive, he finds a job in a crystal shop. The shop owner is a conservative old man who runs his small shop in a stable yet dull life. In his youth, he also had a dream, to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. But he never went, because he was afraid of losing everything he had, and even more afraid that after the pilgrimage, without the support of his dream, his life would become meaningless. Santiago works hard at the crystal shop. He not only learns how to polish crystals and communicate with customers, but also comes up with many innovative ideas, displaying crystal products at the shop entrance to catch the sunlight and attract customers, providing crystal cups for travelers in the desert to hold water. These ideas boost the shop's business greatly, and the owner makes a lot of money. He appreciates Santiago and wants to hand over the shop to him with a generous salary. Stay here. There's a stable life and more money than you can spend. You'll never have to sleep rough like when you were herding sheep. The owner persuades him. It's a tempting offer. Stable life is within reach. But Santiago knows clearly that this isn't what he wants. I came here to go to Egypt and find my treasure. He refuses the owner's kindness. During his time at the crystal shop, he not only earns enough travel money, but also gains a profound insight. Stable life is precious, but giving up one's personal legend for it will only leave eternal regret. After leaving the crystal shop, Santiago joins a caravan crossing the Sahara Desert. The desert environment is harsh, scorching heat during the day, bitter cold at night, and the constant threat of sandstorms and robbers. The caravan is made up of people from different places with different stories, all crossing the desert for their own purposes. On the journey, Santiago meets an English scholar who has spent his life studying alchemy. He travels to the desert to find the legendary Alchemist and learn the secret of turning lead into gold. The English scholar is knowledgeable, yet he can never grasp the true essence of alchemy. He is obsessed with book knowledge and ignores the revelations from life. The secret of alchemy must be hidden in books. As long as I read all the works, I will surely find the answer, the scholar insists. Santiago is different. He is good at observing life, feeling the laws of the universe from the desert wind and the changing stars. The stark contrast between their values reflects two types of people in modern society. Some are obsessed with external labels like academic degrees and certificates, forgetting to listen to their inner voices. Others, though ordinary, can find their own rhythm in life and pursue what they truly want. In the desert, the caravan encounters a tribal war and has to stop temporarily in an oasis. The oasis is lush with water and grass, where people live and work in peace and contentment, a sharp contrast to the cruelty of the desert. Here, Santiago meets a girl named Fatima, the daughter of the oasis tribal chief. She is beautiful and gentle, and the two fall in love at first sight. For the first time, Santiago experiences the beauty of love. I want to stay in the oasis with you, he tells Fatima. Fatima loves Santiago deeply, but she says to him, true love does not hold you back from pursuing your personal legend. If you give up your dream for me, our love will lose its meaning. You must go to Egypt, find your treasure, and I will wait for you here. Fatima's words deeply touch Santiago. He realizes that love is not a constraint, but a support. Someone who truly loves you will respect your dreams and support you to become a better version of yourself. During his stay in the oasis, Santiago also meets the legendary Alchemist. The Alchemist sees his talent and decides to take him across the desert to Egypt. He tells Santiago, "Your personal legend is what you most desire in life. When you strive wholeheartedly to pursue it, the universe will clear the way for you. But the journey to pursue your personal legend is never smooth. You must undergo trials and learn to listen to your heart." Accompanied by the alchemist, Santiago continues his journey across the desert. On the way, they are captured by robbers, who take all their belongings and bring them before the tribal chief. The alchemist tells the chief that Santiago can turn himself into the wind, as proof of his divine nature. The chief gives them 3 days. If Santiago fails, he will be put to death. This is the greatest trial Santiago has ever faced. He is both afraid and helpless. "How can I turn myself into the wind? It's impossible," he says despairingly to the alchemist. The alchemist replies, "You don't need to actually become the wind. What you need to do is communicate with the universe. Listen to the voice of nature and believe in your own power." Over the next 3 days, Santiago calms his mind, lets go of his fear, and listens to the wind, the desert, and the sun. He understands that all things in the universe are connected. As long as he merges with all things, he will possess infinite power. "I am part of the universe. The wind is my breath. The desert is my skin. The sun is my soul," he murmurs in his heart. In the end, he succeeds. A violent wind rises, filling the sky with sand. His body seems to merge with the wind. The tribal chief and the robbers are shocked by the scene and have to let them go. After this trial, Santiago becomes more mature and determined. He realizes that the journey to pursue his personal legend is actually a process of self-growth. Those setbacks and difficulties are not meant to defeat him, but to make him stronger. When he finally reaches the pyramids of Egypt, his heart is unusually calm. He digs near the pyramids as guided by his dream, but after digging for a long time, he finds nothing. Just as he feels disappointed, a group of robbers appears and takes the little he has left. They laugh at him, saying that they once had a ridiculous dream too, a dream that told them there was a great treasure hidden beside a shepherd boy's flock on the Andalusian grasslands in Spain. "I'm not as stupid as you, traveling all this way for a dream." The robber's words strike Santiago like a bolt of lightning. He suddenly understands. The so-called treasure is not under the pyramids of Egypt at all. It is where he started, on the grasslands where he used to herd sheep, in the familiar church ruins. The ending of The Alchemist may seem like a futile journey, but it is actually the deepest interpretation of personal legend. Santiago travels thousands of miles, endures countless hardships, and finally finds that the treasure is where he began. Yet without this journey, he would never have understood the true meaning of the treasure, let alone become a better version of himself. With this allegory, Paulo Coelho tells us a truth. The value of pursuing one's personal legend lies not in the final result, but in the growth and awakening along the way. In this fast-paced modern society, each of us is like Santiago, chasing our own treasure. It may be career success, a fulfilling relationship, or self-actualization. But we often fall into a misunderstanding. We think the treasure must be far away, that it can only be obtained with great sacrifice. So we rush around blindly, ignoring the beauty around us and losing our way. We are trapped by anxiety, held hostage by others' expectations. To pursue the so-called success, we even give up our interests and passions. In the end, even if we get what we want, we can't feel true happiness. This book teaches us that a true personal legend is not the success defined by others, but the thing your heart desires most, the thing that fills you with passion and for which you are willing to give everything. It may not be a grand goal. It could be doing a job you love, cherishing the people around you, or fulfilling a small dream. The journey to pursue it is inevitably filled with setbacks and confusion, just as Santiago was robbed, caught in a war, and faced the threat of death. We too will encounter setbacks like unemployment, heartbreak, and failure in life. But these difficulties are opportunities for growth. They make us clearer about what we want and stronger, more sober. At the same time, the book interprets the meaning of the present moment. When Santiago was herding sheep, he enjoyed the grassland sunshine and freedom. When he worked at the crystal shop, he treated every crystal with care. In the desert, he felt the power of nature. He did not neglect the present because of his longing for the treasure. Instead, he accumulated strength and listened to his inner voice in every moment. This is an important revelation for us modern people. We always linger on the past, worry about the future, and forget to seize the present. In fact, every effort we make in the present paves the way for the future. Every feeling we experience in the present is the most precious part of life. Furthermore, the book's idea that the universe conspires to help you achieve your desires is not superstition, but a positive attitude towards life. When you clearly define your goals and strive for them wholeheartedly, you will find that people, things, and events around you will offer help. This help may be a word of encouragement, a chance encounter, or even a seemingly terrible setback, because setbacks make you adjust your direction and get closer to your goal faster. The key is whether you have the courage to persist, whether you can listen to your inner voice and not be distracted by external interference. For modern people, our greatest dilemma is not the lack of dreams, but the fear to pursue them, or the tendency to give up easily along the way. We are afraid of failure, afraid of losing our current stability, afraid of being laughed at. But as the Alchemist says, if you give up on your personal legend, you will become a person who has lost passion for life, living only in memories. The meaning of life does not lie in living a stable life, but in bravely pursuing what you love, realizing self-growth in the process, and becoming the person you want to be. Santiago's journey is a microcosm of every dream chaser. We may not cross deserts or travel to foreign lands like him, but we all experience our own fantastic journey in life. This journey is filled with chores and sorrows, gains and regrets, but it is these experiences that make up our unique lives. The most precious thing about this book is not that it tells us how to find the treasure, but that it reminds us not to forget our original intention, not to give up our inner longing, and to bravely follow our hearts to the distance that belongs to us. Whether you are confused at this moment or striving on the road to your dream, remember, what you want, time will give you, as long as you never give up, never back down. No summary can replace the original work. A good book is worth reading page by page. I'm Paper Campfire. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to our next encounter.